Hi everybody, welcome to the Hedberg Public Library. If you run out of things to do today, make sure you're listening to our wonderful story time. And if you run out of books to read, please give the library call, 758-6600. Request some books and we'll bring them right to your car. Be well, take care of each other, and let's go find Miss Shannon.
Hi, do you see me? Hello. It's kind of lonely here at HPL today, but look who's still here. Jamila's still here, and Spotty is still here, and our currently unnamed horse is still here. Maybe we could take some suggestions on horse names if that's what you'd like to do today. But we know that a lot of people are home. Most people are home. That's where you should be. We're here. There are very few of us here at Hedberg today, but we miss doing story time, so that's why we're plugging in and doing this right now. I think. Oh yes. One thing we wanted to point out to you is that yesterday we did record a few videos, and we've put them on YouTube. So if you go to the Hedberg Public Library YouTube channel, we have a few stories that we recorded yesterday that you can see there. Don't do that now though. Do that after we're finished with this brief little story time. Now before we start, I feel like I need to give a disclaimer. Normally when we do story time, it is of course live, but it's not recorded for posterity, so please be kind. And we're going to give this a shot. This is brand new. All of this stuff that we're doing is brand new. None of us have ever experienced anything like any of this stuff before, but we're rolling with it and making the best of it. So we're going to wave goodbye to Jamila and Spotty. They're not going away. We're just going away. We're going to go into the program room and do a couple stories in a rhyme, okay? So we're going to walk through. You can see behind me, there's nobody here, no library friends here today. A couple of employees not walking into walls or doors. So here, this room looks familiar, right? This is our newfangled program room. So we're going to start out, we're going to do a rhyme, okay? So stand up if you're at home. Stand up, we're going to do some stretching. Good to move our bodies when we're in these days, right? So the rhyme we're going to do is one that I found from a blog many years ago. It's called This Is Big. And we're going to move our bodies like this, okay? So we're going to start out being, this is big, big, big. Can you move your body like that? And this is small, small, small. Now we're going to go really down low. This is short, short, short. And this is tall, tall, tall. We're going to move our hands. This is fast, fast, fast. How fast can you go? And this is slow, slow, slow. This is yes, yes, yes. And this is no, no, no. How'd that go? All right, that was just a warm-up. We'll do it again together, okay? Are you ready? Here we go. You can say it with me. This is big, big, big. Make your body as big as you can. This is small, small, small. This is short, short, short. And this is tall, tall, tall. This is fast, fast, fast. This is slow, slow, slow. This is yes, yes, yes. And this is no, no, no. Good job, everybody. Nice work. So at the end of that rhyme, we actually did some American Sign Language. So this is the sign for yes. You move your hand up and down, kind of like you're nodding your head. And the sign for no is this. You take your two fingers and your thumb, and you move them up and down like this, so no. So here's a little thing. If you're at home, where you're supposed to be, you should be home. This is a website, ASL.org, and it's a video dictionary of American Sign Language. So, if you would like to work at learning a new language while you're home these days, check out this website. We'll also include this in the comments below in our video. So maybe we'll have a link there. We'll try to make that happen. When I was little, my mom was a speech therapist, and she still is a speech therapist, a retired speech therapist. And she had this book called The Joy of Signing, and I remember spending many, many hours looking through the pictures. And this is actually videos, so you get the movements right. So it's a fun thing. All right, we're going to do a story next. And this is going to be a flannel story of this book by Denise Fleming called Lunch. So for this story, we need a puppet, a mouse puppet. Can you wave hello to the mouse? Hello. Hello, friends at home. Okay. So Mouse was very hungry. He was so hungry that he ate a crisp white turnip. And then he ate a tasty orange carrot. Are you nibbling along with me at home? Then some sweet yellow corn. Some tender green peas. Two tart blueberries. Some sour purple grapes. Woo! What is our sour? Can you make a sour face? Woo! And a crunchy apple. What color is that apple? Do you know what that is? It's red, isn't it? Very good. And lastly, that mouse ate some juicy pink watermelon, crunchy black seeds and all. Oh, after that, Mouse took a nap. And he slept until it was dinner time. And that's the end of Lunch by Denise Fleming. Isn't that a fun story? Lots of fruits and vegetables in this one, right? Let's count these pieces and we'll put them away. Let's do it in the order, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's that. So one other thing that I wanted to remind you of is that typically on a normal Wednesday morning, we would be doing story time at Oak Park Place, which is a senior living community in Janesville. But because of all the stuff that's going on, we're not doing that. But if you're looking for an activity to do together as a family, you could write a letter or draw a picture and mail it to someone who is at a senior living community. Maybe Oak Park Place is where you want to send it. Maybe you have a family member or a friend in a different senior living community. But don't drive it there. Put it in an envelope and mail it. It will get to them. But that could be a fun way to connect with other people in our community in the next few weeks. So next, we're going to do this story. And this story has me a little nervous to tell you. I'm going to be honest. A lot of moving pieces in this one. This is a flannel retelling of the book, The Big Orange Splot by Daniel Manis Pinkwater. And it goes like this. So actually, to tell this one, I have to take my glasses off. All right. So here's how it goes. Mr. Plumbean lived on a house. Well, he did not live on a house. He lived on a street where all the houses looked just alike. Let's count these houses. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mr. Plumbean and his neighbors liked it this way. What a neat street, they all said. But then one day, a seagull carrying a can of orange paint flew above the houses on Mr. Plumbean's street. And when it was right above Mr. Plumbean's house, some of that orange paint spilled out and splat. Left a big orange spot on Mr. Plumbean's roof. Uh-oh, said Mr. Plumbean's neighbors. Mr. Plumbean's going to have to fix his house, they said. And Mr. Plumbean agreed. But for some reason, he put it off for a few days. Finally, the neighbors got impatient. When you going to fix your house, Plumbean? They said. Oh, tomorrow, said Mr. Plumbean. And he did. He painted his house white and the roof blue, but he painted right around that orange spot. He just left that right there. Then he painted a red Splot and what color is this one? A green Splot and a yellow Splot, and he painted his door fire engine red, and on that door he made a carving of a lion's head. And lastly, to his house he added a watchtower. And in his yard he planted 2 tall palm trees and strung a hammock in between. And he got himself a friendly little pet. Does that seem like a friendly little pet? To Mr. Plumbean it was. When the neighbors saw Mr. Plumbean sitting in his hammock between the 2 palm trees, sipping a glass of lemonade and gently petting his fluffy new pet, they said, "Plumbean, you're off your rocker. You got bats in your belfry. You just got to do something about that house of yours." But Mr. Plumbean just smiled and he said, "My house is me and I am it. My house is where I like to be. It looks like all my dreams." So the neighbors had a meeting. They appointed Mr. Plumbean's next door neighbor to go over and talk some sense into him. So the very next day, Mr. Plumbean's neighbor did just that. And they sat in the hammock and they sipped lemonade and they talked about their hopes and dreams. The next morning, the neighbor changed his house to look like a tall ship that he had always dreamed of. The next night, the neighbors were still confused. They're like, what's happening to this street that we've lived on where all the houses are the same? So they sent this neighbor over to talk some sense into Mr. Plumbean. And the neighbors sat in the hammock and they sipped lemonade and they talked about their hopes and dreams. The next morning, this neighbor changed his house to look like the marble and gold palace he had always dreamed of living in. It wasn't long before every house on the street reflected the hopes and dreams of the people who lived there. Now, sometimes when people walk down Mr. Plumbean's street, they say, "What happened to your neat street where all the houses look just the same?" And Mr. Plumbean and his neighbors smile and they say, "My house is me and I am it. My house is where I like to be and it looks like all my dreams." And that's the end of of the Big Orange Splot. Well, and that's also the end of what we have planned for you here today. We can't guarantee that we'll be here every day, but check in on occasion, and when we're going to go live, we'll send a notice out ahead of time letting you know when it's going to be. But remember, go to the Hedberg Public Library YouTube channel and you can see the videos that we've shared so far. There's a few more that will be coming. And remember, children, your parents are going to tell you that you need to stay home, okay? And you need to listen to them and not argue with them. Speaking as a mother, I'm going to say this, okay? Right now, just stay home, find fun things to do together as a family, and all will be a-okay, all right? Thank you for tuning in today. On behalf of Karen and Mariah, who are my backup help here, and Julie and Miss Elizabeth, who are here too, we wish you well, and we will see you again soon. Have a good day, everybody. Wash your hands.